2022 was the year of Herzog, Akira Kurosawa, Bergman, and Tarkovsky. 2023 was James Cameron, Hitchcock, Leone, and Cassavetes. And 2024 has been a year where I continue to discover greatness in directors whom you may or may not have heard of. Today, I'm here to divulge those directors to you and their brilliance as best as I possibly can. From the tightness of writing from Billy Wilder,
yes, you are tight like a tiger,
to the effortless style and comedy of Wes Anderson.
I like your nurse's uniform, guy.
These are OR scrubs.
Oh, are they?
To the chaotic madness of Shinya Tsukamoto and more. We are going to go over 8 directors with whom I have just started watching this very year and go over why I'm so glad I found them. Starting with the director in which I've seen the least, we have Abel Ferrara. Ferrara is a director who drips of style almost effortlessly. His depictions of New York City paint it as a wasteland for the lost and damned, where our main character must survive.
This city's afraid of me. I've seen its true face.
From King of New York to Miss 45 and finally The Addiction, we get vastly different stories that, once all seen, point to the director's voice as being prominent throughout. For those who enjoy hyperviolence, he's a must-watch director and one in which I've only found greatness from the aforementioned films above or before. Next, we have a director in which I've also only seen 3 films, David Lean. Lean back. To say David Lean hasn't missed in the 3 films I've seen of his would be an understatement. Where Brief Encounter is simply great, we also have the highs that Lawrence of Arabia and The Bridge on the River Kwai have to offer. I find that both of the latter of the 3 aforementioned to be spectacular war films, but Lawrence of Arabia is just a cut above. The music and visuals that this movie has to offer are only rivaled by the brilliance of Peter O'Toole's performance. If I were to recommend only one film from this spectacular filmmaker, you'd have to bet it would be Lawrence of Arabia. When people look at the runtime of this film, it seems daunting and as though it only caters to the pretentious. But trust me, this is a legitimate all-time great that should be studied and marveled. While we are here, please be sure to subscribe to the channel.
Everybody in that goddamn dressing room knows that I'm the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be.
I have tons of videos you would love and should check out, and also a lot of great ideas that will be coming out soon, so hit that bell icon so you don't miss them. Next, we have a filmmaker in which I've seen 3 feature films and a short film, that being Jonathan Glazer. The short I've seen is Strasbourg 1518, and I honestly can't say that I do recommend it, though you can find it without much time commitment to see for yourself. The 3 feature films I have seen, however, are all great, those being Sexy Beast, Under the Skin, and The Zone of Interest. While Sexy Beast is relatively straightforward, it is an outlier in comparison to the other 2 films in terms of multiple storytelling aspects. The Zone of Interest is marked by putting us into a narrative where we are a fly on the wall overseeing the banality of evil. I think it's a brilliant film and one of the best of 2023. Under the Skin is an odd horror film where we see the search for identity and meaning from the perspective of an outsider. In so doing so, we get a perspective as to how evil can exist in both predator and prey. Sexy Beast is again a movie that I find vastly different, but is more bombastic and straightforward, and a film that is most remembered for Ben Kingsley's tremendous performance. Up next is Shinya Tsukamoto, with whom I've seen 4 films from. My favorite of these four is Tokyo Fist, a movie that is self-indulgent and shows off Sakamoto's insane special effects with its violence. Even the transitions were a spectacle at times, and this was a film that gave me an appetite for more of Sakamoto's films. We then have Bullet Ballet, which is maybe the most reserved of Sakamoto's filmography that I've seen, at least from the craziness perspective, though it's all relative when it comes to Sakamoto. It's more steeped in bleak and depressing themes than his other films, but only slightly. His most horrific in my mind is Kotoko, which puts us into the perspective of a deeply mentally unstable mother. This is truly one to try for fans of horror, as it's one of the most effective and unique horror films I've ever seen. Lastly, we have Tetsuo the Iron Man, which is Sakamoto's claim to fame. This film is intensely stylized from its special effects to its editing style and can only be described as an assault on the senses. For this next director, who is Edward Yang, rather than talk about each film as I've been doing previously, I want to talk about what I've come to find from him as a director from the 6 films I've seen from him so far. With A Brighter Summer Day being my favorite and Mahjong being my least favorite, though still great, he has never disappointed me. Yi Yi and A Brighter Summer Day are long films with big casts, yet in these films and all his other films, he is able to capture the thoughts and feelings of his characters, which can be hard to do with so many characters to cover. I covered 2 of his films in detail on my channel, which I strongly recommend that you check out. As a director, I've never seen a filmmaker who is able to depict the difference so brilliantly in how one is perceived by others and who someone truly is. He has done this time and time again, and once you realize it, it honestly becomes an experience that allows you to recontextualize his films. I truly think, so far, Edward Yang is one of the best directors of all time, and I cannot recommend his films enough. My personal rankings for the films of his that I've seen so far would be 1, A Brighter Summer Day, 2, Yi Yi, 3, Terrorizers, 4, Taipei Story, and then 5, Mahjong. I would, however, recommend starting with Terrorizers first before diving into his longer films, that being A Brighter Summer Day and Yi Yi. We are now into our big 3 for the video.
Motherfuck the big 3, nigga, it's just big meat.
Coming up first, we have Roberto Rossellini. If you've seen him and are a fan, I recommend you check out my War Trilogy episode where I go in-depth reviewing and analyzing Germany, Year Zero, Rome Open City, and Paysan with Matt. This is the most interesting part of Rossellini's career, in my opinion, and helped birth the Italian neorealism movement. On top of that, I got to see a Ingrid Bergman starred movie by way of Fear 1954, which is great and marks another aspect of Rossellini's career. To cover his third and final style of filmmaking, I've seen 2 of his historical biopics, one of Louis XIV, The Taking of Power by Louis XIV, and the other, St. Francis, The Flowers of St. Francis. Rossellini is as talented as he is important and shows the tragedy that World War II has done most effectively. If you're wanting to watch some masterful black and white films, he's a director you must explore, as is our next director, who is Billy Wilder. Some will unabashedly say he's the best writer that Hollywood ever had, and I will go to say I think he is the total package. His highs are amongst the heavens with Sunset Boulevard, a film that is my favorite of his. I haven't seen a bad film from him either, with Some Like It Hot being my bottom film from his, but it is still great. The Lost Weekend, Witness for the Prosecution, Double Indemnity, Ace in the Hole, and who could forget The Apartment are all masterfully done. He has a wit and a pacing about his storytelling that make him so ahead of his time that he feels right at home being watched in 2024. He truly is an all-time great and one you should, and I'll say must watch if you haven't already. Last but not least, we have Wes Anderson. He is, without a doubt in my mind, the director of the most funny movies ever. Having seen 7 of his films now, I can say that every film of his has something to offer. Even Bottle Rocket, my lowest rated film among his filmography, though still great, is hilarious. You get amazing visual style and heartfelt moments with Wes's amazing sense of humor. If those 3 elements are something you are looking for, then he is a director you will instantly fall in love with, as I have already. Thank you for joining me on this video. I hope that I am a channel you are glad you found in 2024. Most of you watching are tourists, so please hit that subscribe button and that bell icon, as it means more to me than you will know, and it'll help make sure you don't miss what I'm cooking up next. Thanks again, and I will catch you on the flippity floop. Bye, y'all.